live on the Wrestling Classic YouTube channel for the first ever edition of NFG Radio. How's it going, Shad?
I'm going good. I feel good.
That's good, man. We're back. We'll go at it. We're doing this again. Week number 3. What started as a casual conversation has now become a weekly podcast.
A weekly podcast because we got nothing to do.
And nothing to do. Quarantine period. What's going on, man? How's your week? Have you been tuning into wrestling? How's things been going?
I've been good, man. I'm always chill. I always try to do. It's weird because like the first month, a lot of things in Hollywood, as for actors, is completely down. But yeah. I'm a writer also, so it's been a really weird year for writers in general. Yeah. But overall, now things are starting to get back into motion because my manager actually let me know we're having meetings again for a lot of stuff that we pulled back from, and so things are starting to like roll again. You know what I mean? But it's like it's a weird climate in Hollywood right now for writers. You know what I'm saying? WME just let go a bunch of their writing staff, the literary agents.
Yeah.
But they kept the big names. So it's kind of a weird period for a lot of people. I'm kind of lucky because I'm in that weird middle ground where I'm not too much of an unknown and I'm enough of a known to where I can still get in the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what are we working on right now when it comes to writing or acting? Is there anything that we would have known that you would be doing if there wasn't a COVID-19 right now? Or Steve Carino virus.
I mean, before the COVID, I had just gotten a call. I think it was a pass on me, but I had got called back in for Young Rock for Dwayne's show.
Oh wow!
Yeah, DJ show, and I got called back in for Rocky Johnson.
Yeah.
And, I remember I nailed the audition. I think the first audition, for JYD, and I nailed that. Then the second audition was I went in for JYD, and they were like, "Oh, that was great. Can you read these lines? Come back in." And I was like, "Yeah." And I read the lines, and it was for Rocky Johnson, and Rocky Johnson trained me, like at OVW. And when I came back in and I read for Rocky, they were like, "Awesome!" And I got 2 callbacks on it. So it was really good, but all this happened, and I don't think they're going to move on with me. I think I'm a little too big.
So the concept of that show is following The Rock's life as Rock was a kid, basically. It's young Rock.
To not give so much into it, yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And no.
Okay.
Not just him as a kid. It was a really. It's not your typical show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
It's not just set in like a straight linear path like this. You know what I mean? So
fair.
There's a lot of things people don't know about DJ.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize Rocky Johnson created himself.
Yeah.
Like we sat down. I remember the first week I was in OVW, we sat down to dinner, and he explained to me Rocky Johnson doesn't exist. His pops died when he was around 9. His mom's boyfriend, they didn't get along. They kicked him out when he was around 13. And this is a dude who like lived on the streets, busted his ass. And the idea and the creation of Jack Johnson and Rocky, was in his soul. And that's what he created himself to be. He made himself the superhero. Now, through hook or through crook, he did that. You know what I'm saying? But I can't judge a man who made himself by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of guy, like people don't realize, Rocky Johnson's last name isn't Johnson. He didn't have anybody opening doors for him.
Wait a minute, what is Rocky Johnson's real last name?
Bowles.
Bowles?
Yeah.
So does that mean Dwayne's real name is Dwayne Bowles?
Yeah. So
Dwayne Johnson isn't even Dwayne Johnson's real name.
Yeah, but it's what it is.
What? I'm so confused. Learn something new every day, and I'm the Wrestling Classic. Wow.
Well, okay. The point is, people get so stuck on legacy of a name, like it means something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My last name that I use is Gaspard, right? Yeah. My real last name is not Gaspard. It's Romain.
All right.
Because my grandfather was a political lawyer in Haiti, and he was fighting against Duvalier, Papa Doc, and Baby Doc. And so my grandfather was a lawyer on the people's side.
Yeah.
And so what happened was one night he went out to the movies and he never came back. And then it was circulated that they kidnapped him, they put him in a prison, they tortured him, and they murdered him. Right? My father, who was around 8 years old at the time, his older brother, who was a badass, Jacques, he went out my entire family were all fighters. My grandfather was around 6'8", and he's a lawyer. Okay.
Yeah.
And, his son Jacques was around 6'6", 6'7", and I remember my grandmother's funeral just now. One of his childhood friends, saw me at the funeral and was like, "Ben, your son looks just like your brother." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's a big guy, just like him. And he's like, "Oh man," he told me a story. He's like, "I remember Jacques was in a bar one day, and the police came, and he got in a fight, and the police came in, and Jacques was having fun with his friends, and the police was like, 'Get up and get out.' And my uncle just grabbed like 3 cops and beat the shit out of them and made them sit in the corner and wait to take him to jail."
Wow.
So he was like this crazy. So when they killed my grandfather, Jacques went out for revenge.
Yeah.
And he got killed.
Yeah.
And then they told my grandmother and my grandfather's brother, take the girls, leave the country, never come back. All right? But leave my father. And so they left my father to die. And my father raised himself on the streets from the time he was like 8 years old, 9 years old, until he was 18, when my grandmother finally found a way to get him out by changing his last name from Romain to her maiden name, Gaspard. You know, and so he got out, and we just kept the name Gaspard. But my real last name is Romain from my grandfather.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I remember I think it was around 2007.
Yeah.
I started looking at my lineage, and I found a lot of stuff. Like I know more about my family history than anybody in my family, like on both sides of my family. And but that's because I have the means and the time.
Yeah.
When you're working a 9-to-5 job, you don't care where you come from. You're just like,
no. Yeah.
But nah, it was crazy to me that I had cousins and I never met them.
Yeah.
And I remember I had cousins hit me up all the time. They're like, "Yeah, our great grandfather was an engineer."
Yeah.
My grandmother, I never knew this. She was a debutante.
Yeah. Wow.
And, in Haiti. And my great grandfather, he was an engineer. And my grandmother doesn't speak patois.
Yeah.
She speaks French. Right? She hates speaking Creole. She hates speaking patois. She only speaks French. And I speak.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, she's Haitian. That's it." You know. And then when I talked to other Haitians, they were like, "No, your grandmother's a debutante. They found it disrespectful to talk the lower language. They only spoke good French. It was like a class thing." And I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know."
That's wild.
Yeah. So the same thing goes for like Rocky Johnson. His family was from Virginia and that area. They were runaway slaves who ran to Canada.
Yeah.
And lived amongst the Indians. You know what I'm saying? And had their freedom. And I think he had like 6 brothers and sisters, but he was like one of the youngest.
Yeah.
And his pops died when he was 9, and it was like, a kid from an Indian reservation, descendant of runaway slaves. What do I got to lose? He just started fighting and picking things up and getting bigger and stronger, and just he had no idea. There was no roadmap for him to become great.
Yeah.
He just decided to become great, and that's like the legacy of Rocky Johnson. No matter what I remember Tony Atlas told me one time. He was like, me and Jason just talked about this. We were backstage, right? And people don't know, if you push my button enough, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. So I already had that rep. Jason, on the other hand, is not a fighter. Jason's not a fighter. And a couple guys who were working, were beating up on Jay during our tag matches. Lance Cage, Trevor Murdoch. And I remember Trevor, we were sitting backstage. We were somewhere in Texas, and there were a bunch of chairs lined up. And Jason being
JTG. For those that don't know who Jason is JTG.
Yeah. But I remember Trevor tried to punk him out, right? And Jay didn't say nothing back to it. And I remember it just eating him inside. And I remember me saying something back to it like, I was going to put my foot in your fucking ass. Then we're going to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And him back away. And Tony Atlas coming to me and going like, oh, yep, I see you and Rocky just alike. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, y'all don't know when just to play the game. And then I'm like, bro, I don't mind playing the game, but I know who I am as a black man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember Tony told me when he was in the Carolinas, he had a gun put to his head before a match. And he had to like degrade himself and bring himself down to live. You know what I'm saying? Because if they thought he was intelligent, he's gonna die. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. You know what I mean? So yeah. I respect Rocky Johnson a lot.
No, I want to talk about Rocky Johnson too because he did train you. But shout out to Billy Gilly and Brendan Raphael who got the message to leave the Instagram live stream and come onto YouTube to actually ask questions. Billy Gilly said sometimes legacy can work against you, like how people loved Cryme Time, but probably wouldn't like seeing you guys come back as anything else. Do you sometimes feel like when it comes to wrestling, or at least the WWE, like if you were to come back, it would have to be as Cryme Time at first, or do you think it could work?
1,000,000%. Yeah, 100%. If we come back, like there's no washing away Cryme Time.
Yeah,
and like I said this last night, which I was a little high, but I was happy.
Yeah, yeah.
I went live high and shit.
Yeah, that's all good. It happens. Trust me, it happens.
I live in California, all right, and I'm invested into marijuana.
Yeah.
No, but
this is NFG Radio, no fucks given. If people are trying to figure out what it stands for, that's what it stands for. NFG stands for no fucks given. But go on. I asked Shad, I messaged him one day. I'm like, okay, so if you want to do a podcast, what do you want to name it? And without any hesitation, he's like, no fucks given. I'm like, okay.
Sure. I live a good life. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. And that's why I do casual conversations because I'm really bad at being super professional sometimes. But go ahead.
What's the question? Oh, so if we come back as Cryme Time.
Yeah.
No. If we come back as Cryme, we have to come back to Cryme Time. I said last night, because we get the question a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And some like a couple of influencers who, liked us when they were kids, before they were influencers, and now they're looking back and they're like, oh man, that was racist. And it's like every single wrestling character that's ethnic comes into the business as a caricature.
Yeah.
Samoan, okay, Black, Asian,
Indian,
Latino, Indian.
Yeah.
Shanti.
Yeah. What is that? Trust me, nobody was a fan of that. Not even Jimmy. The Bollywood boys. Is that the yeah?
It's just the way the business goes because America feels like the world revolves around it. So when you introduce something to Caucasian Americans, it has to be in a way that they can digest it.
Yeah.
We introduce Cryme Time like the Homeboy Shopping Network from In Living Color. Why? Because I loved the Homeboy Shopping Network when I was a kid. Yeah. I used to watch Living Color every weekend. And I remember watching the Homeboy Shopping Network and being like, more money, more money, more. It was like it was a hilarious thing, So it's like at the beginning, we had writers who try to like keep it in a certain way. And then as we started proving that we could do our own promos on our own and, we can come up with our own. Like, I remember, I love Brian Gerwitz.
Yeah.
He came, we were walking backstage and one of the writers come up, he goes, Chad, do you ever say get pasted? I go, what? He goes, get pasted. I go, I don't know what are you talking about? And then here comes Brian. He goes, hey, Chad. So I got a promo for you guys. And he goes, oh, man, that bitch just got pasted. And I go, what?
Okay, so for people that don't know who Brian Gerwitz is, he was the writer for the WWE from I think 2000, head writer for Raw from 2002 all the way for a very long period of time. I don't know exactly when he left.
Yeah.
But if you ever did a quick Google search of Brian Gerwitz and you saw a picture of him, he's just a white dude with glasses, and just hearing the story and picturing Brian Gerwitz pitch it to you, knowing kind of what he looks like kind of makes it funnier. He now works with Seven Bucks Productions with The Rock and everything. He's very successful. He's a hell of a dude from what we've seen.
Brian's a great guy.
Yeah.
He came, he's like, yeah. Yo, that bitch just got pasted. And I was like, nah, Brian, I've never said that. And then here comes Vince down the hallway, and Vince goes, Gaspard, here. You ever said a bitch got pasted?
What does that even mean?
And I go, what? And he goes, and Brian goes, I looked up in the Urban Dictionary. Okay.
Urban Dictionary. Yeah.
He was in the Urban Dictionary, okay? I found it. It's in the Urban Dictionary. Look, pasted. It's a slang word. I said, so we're gonna be writing our own promos. He goes, yeah, you're right, your own promos. I don't give a
What was the slang for?
I have no idea. It was like for a promo. But I remember it was just like one of those things where like, we used to go to Ed Koskey a lot. And Ed be like, all right, this is the premise. What do y'all want to do? And then we just go with it. And then he'd be like, and then Ed be like, all right, cool. And Ed would take credit. And we don't give a fuck. We're getting to say what we want to say on live TV. And it worked for us and it worked against us sometimes.
What is the tension with that? Like when do you get the ability to kind of be having the power to write your own promos and stuff? Like, because there's obviously
when you stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
When you stop giving a fuck, when you stop caring about your career, when you stop caring about what other people think about you, when you stop caring about if you're gonna get fired or you're gonna keep your job, that's when they give you the power to do whatever the fuck you want. And the thing about us is we came in caring, and the group that we were with primarily was like Umaga, Shelton, Charlie, Viscera. We were around a bunch of guys who didn't give a fuck,
Yeah.
And then it just went from there where it was like I started watching what they did, and then we test it out, we play with it. They'd be like, oh, hey, Chad, you're not going to say nothing in this promo. Jay, you're going to do all this. And then it'd be like, we'll change it. Oh, we want you guys to say
So would you go say something and then just see how they reacted to it after, kind of like ask for forgiveness after the fact if anything was wrong with it?
Yeah, because the thing about it is once we're live,
yeah,
we can't reshoot it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times where like Jason would beg me not to do things, and I'd be like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, please don't. That's the thing. We got upgrades. So we got upgrades in our contracts way before everybody else. We got upgrades in our matches a lot of time before a lot of people came up with us from OVW. I remember one of the guys going, hey, how are you buying this house? I was like, oh, I'm paying with my video game money. He's like, what? I got like, 15 grand for the game. And I was like, oh, I got 50. And then I asked for more. And I got an extra 25. I got extra 25. Yeah. It was like, what are you talking about? How'd you ask for more? And I remember I got my video game check and it was for 50K. And I was like, oh, I've never gotten 50K at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've made 50K, but getting a $50,000 check. And I was like, oh man. And I go to Eki, Umaga. And I go, oh, so look. And he goes, oh, that's cute. And he goes in his bag, he pulls his check out. It's for 125K.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like, I did my own voiceovers. We did our own stuff. He was like, go ask for him. He goes, go to Vince and talk to Vince and let him know you deserve more. And I was like, okay. And Jason was like, don't do it. Yeah. And so I knocked on Vince's door. There was no line. And he opens the door and he goes, hey, he's Gaspard, come on in. I was like, cool. Came in. He goes, what you got? And I got a lot of time. I said, great, it's taking no time. I said, this is not my check. This is for somebody else. And he goes, what the fuck? And I go, yo, I said, hey, you told me and Jay you're going to make us stars. You told me and Jay we're going to be the best tag team. Okay? This is the best tag team kind of money. 50K for a video game, that's not best tag team kind of money. So that's not my check. That's somebody else's check. That belongs to one of the guys lower down the roster. And he goes, get the fuck back in here. Another 25 be good? I was like, oh shit, yeah.
Do you think that's what it is? Like the problem with this is not the problem, but the issue is that like you kind of have to take your own career in your own hands. Because a lot of the complaints that you hear from people that leave the company themselves, they had a hard time dealing with creative, they had a hard time getting through to Vince. When he kind of typecasts you, that's kind of it. Like obviously there's ups and downs, but like do you think it's more that talent doesn't take the initiative to try to risk it all just to, take that risk?
I think it's hard to risk it all when you work for 10 years on the indies to get there. And then you're there and then you're part of a system that guys have been brought into and they've made to be sharks. And then you have to you gotta say to yourself, man, is this risk worth the reward?
Yeah.
And for a lot of guys, it's a huge no. You know what I'm saying? I come from the mindset like I tell people all the time, I've never had a job.
Yeah.
Never. Like I remember as a kid, I worked for like 2 weeks at a gas station. I worked for like a month at a Firestone Tires. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. Those are the only jobs I've actually had. Besides that, I've been a bodyguard, bouncer, and gang shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's who I am. I'm not sorry for being that way, but I don't fit into regular society like that. And I knew that from an early age. So when I met guys who come in the company and they were so used to having 9 to 5s where they talk to a boss a certain way, they talk to their friends a certain way, that didn't correlate with me. The way I talked to Vince was the way I talked to Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think in my eyes, they're all on the same level as far as people go. Shelton is a hardworking motherfucker. Vince is a hard. You don't change how you conversate with them. Like, I remember like just like if you read JTG's book,
yeah,
okay, 90% of both of his books about me. Because he would be there with me and he'd be like, yo, Shad would do these things and they would work out. And it's like, why? It's because you gotta have no fear in wanting success, in wanting one. Okay. I have no fear in wanting to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay sleeping in my car for 5 months if it
leads to
happy.
Yeah, that pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, for 5 years. I'm like cool with it. Oh, hey, I don't mind struggling for 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years, or 5 years, just to get what I want to achieve. A lot of guys, they don't see that, so they just sit there and they treat WWE like a 9 to 5 job.
So like,
and don't talk to management.
From a fan perspective, because I'm a fan, from all the stories we've heard about Vince and
my boy Black Wrestling said that both Rocky's his oldest son and his other brother, they both have his name Bowles, which is true. It's true. They both have the name Bowles, and Rocky. I hate the stigma that people say like, oh, Rocky Johnson didn't like his black kids. That's not true. He loves them. It's just that their perception of their father is completely different than Dwayne's.
Yeah.
Like Rocky's not a good, like Rocky Johnson is not the greatest dad.
Yeah.
Most of us aren't.
Yeah.
But Dwayne had a great mom that pushed him and motivated him. Their mom, again, didn't see what Rocky saw. That's why they went together. So I saw my boy as for that. A lot of people don't really realize that.
Yeah, and I want to answer Jesus's and Brandon's questions too, but I'm on this Vince thing now because we're on it, and I'm very curious because this is just my own philosophy I've figured in my own head, and I could be wrong. And for you that have been backstage and you've been there, I want your opinion because like I always thought maybe, and I could be wrong about this, that I think in the past when you look at the previous eras before the 2000s, maybe like I think the last real being really close to Vince era was probably the Attitude Era. Once WCW was out of the picture, he kind of probably stepped further away from hanging out with the boys and doing that type of situation where I feel like now the talent probably doesn't have that same relationship that the talent in the past probably had with him, where they felt comfortable going to him for every problem. They felt like his door is probably more open and there was a smaller group, where now there's more agents and there's more writers and there's more people you can go to before you have to go to Vince, which kind of changes that.
I don't know about that. I think like our era, because like we were like, it's so weird, man. Because like they were like, oh, you guys, because we're from OVW, so like, you guys are ruthless aggression. You guys have a certain kind of style, like hard hitting, boom, boom, boom. It's a ruthless aggression kind of era. So we're from that era, but then also we started segueing into the PG era in our era. You know what I'm saying? And Vince was always down for shit.
Yeah.
We would fly to Iraq and Afghanistan, and we would just talk for hours on hours about just life, philosophy, family. Like it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about it. But again, a lot of us didn't put Vince in a God category. You know what I'm saying? We put him in.
That's perfect, I think, because I think now there might be a stigma where some people look at him and it's like, oh, that's Vince McMahon. The people that are on the roster today, I don't know, I can't say for sure. Whereas I think those generations before, when they saw him, like he's just he's a man, he's a boss.
He's a boss.
We can approach him. We can tell him. We can complain. We can, give our ideas to him, and like, not so worried about getting fired or the reaction or that's Vince McMahon. Let's go to this agent first. Let's go to this writer first. Let's go to this person first.
I remember clearly one of my best friends that started in the business with me, Paul Enormous.
Yeah,
right? He passed away. We were gonna do a match, and I wrote Paul on my forearm on my tape. And Paul Heyman, who was I'm a Paul Heyman guy. Everybody knows that. And Paul, who wasn't with the company at the time, was friction with WWE. So I wrote Paul on my tape. I went out, wrestled my match, everything came in, and the following week, Vince pulled me aside. He goes, "You're trying to make a statement by putting Paul Heyman's thing on your thing?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, what the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "Yo, man, don't fucking start me today." I was like, "I'm still not fucking over my boys. My boy died. My boy Paul Lee." And he's like, "Oh, the big guy with the tattoo, the cobra on his chest," because he wanted to sign him.
Yeah,
he had his big giant cobra in his chest, and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "He died?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "So what the fuck you want to do? The fuck, nigga? It's just me and you." I was like, "What the fuck you want to do right now?" And he was like, calm down. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought you were trying to send a message to me." And I was like, and I just started crying. And the old man just grabbed me and hugged me. And he was like, "This isn't the end of it. This is just one of many friends you're going to lose. But you can't let your anger control you every time you lose somebody. This is part of the business." And we just sat. I remember we were in Detroit, and we just sat there, and I think it was Detroit. We just sat there, and I remember I'm just crying my eyes out, and here's fucking Vince McMahon holding me by my fucking neck, pulling me in to make sure that the other boys can't see me cry. And it's like, fuck, that's a real man right there. Go to the side, go chill. Don't let the boys see you cry. They're gonna think it's weak. That's Vince.
And that's the part we never hear about. We never hear these stories. It's crazy,
Because the guys who are talking, they built him up to be something that he's not. He's like, "Oh, Vince is this power hungry. I want to do this." No, of course he is. He's a kid in a playground who has toys. How many of us have played with our wrestling action figures and been like, "Oh, Miss Elizabeth is now going to marry Coco Beware. Oh, your man's getting mad."
Been there, man. We talked about that last week. Been there, yeah.
Come on. So imagine the mindset of a man who is living the actual dream of having live action figures and going, "Oh man, you go do this, you go do that." Guess what? Are all his ideas great? No. I can tell you from the bottom of my heart, not all of his ideas are great. But is he willing to fail?
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
You're willing to comment on his failures, but he's willing to fail. XFL, I'm not gonna lie to you. I watched some games.
Yeah.
I was like, this is actually really good. These guys are fucking balling.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, he did it. XFL is going to have a great year. And then COVID-19.
Yeah, no, that's true. COVID-19 really ruined that for XFL. I think it probably would have still been going on if that wasn't the case. And it's very unfortunate. But back to the Vince thing, I just full circle, I guess to sum all my question up fully, do you think it's more on, do you think it's more of the guys' responsibility, the guys and girls' responsibilities to build that relationship with Vince?
I do.
Rather than expecting it to be there. I just feel like in the past, it might have been there a lot easier because the locker room was smaller, the writing teams were smaller. It was Vince, you know what I mean? Where now it's a bigger corporation. Is it their responsibility to build that relationship and break that barrier?
It's your responsibility to build a relationship with the people who oversee your career and your life. Jason wrote a story about Stephanie, in the book where I said, "Hey, babe." I call every single woman babe or baby girl. Or, "Hey, what's up, shorty? How you doing?" It's a natural New York thing. You know what I'm saying? And I remember Stephanie loves hip hop. Stephanie is so cool. She loves hip hop. There's no 90s song she does not know. And Hunter is the complete opposite. Hunter's I don't know none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he's still a cool guy. but I remember we were just passing, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, baby girl?" And she goes, "Excuse me," and I go, I go, "Hey, Steph, how you doing?" She goes, "Uh-huh." I go, "Whatever's gonna happen, let it happen. I'm good. I deserve it." And she was like, "Nothing. Just I'm your friend.
Yeah.
Also your boss."
Yeah.
I know. Can I say I'm on drugs? Would that help? Would that help? She starts laughing. She's like, "No, you can't tell me you're on drugs." I was like, "I'm so high right now. I'm so drunk." And she was like, "Shut the fuck up." You know what I'm saying? Because that's just the relationship I had with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember me and Jay were working Dykstra and Nitro, and they were tag team at the time. And we were trying to build a storyline. And so we wrote down a storyline. And so we had our ideas, and we brought it to Stephanie. And so we brought it to Stephanie. And as soon as we get to her, she's like, we wait out the office. We go, "Here's our storyline. Here's our idea. This is it." She looks the paper just like this. And she starts reading it. And while she's reading it, we start pitching it to her. And she goes, "Guys, do you want me to read or do you want to pitch? Because I can't have you do both." And we stood back and we go, "We want you to read."
Yeah.
Said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah." We stood back and she read. She said, "I don't like it. I think you guys can do better. Next time, pitch." From that day on, I never handed her a piece of paper about an idea. I pitched it. Here's the thing. Me and Jay were doing this. We're doing that. Like we had to do with Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
We pitched it. We didn't. It was like they were like, "Oh, we got this idea." And so when we started getting an idea, we were like, "Oh, can we do this with Hacksaw? Can we do this? Can we do this? Can we do this?" And they were like, they accepted the pitches better than the handwritten ideas. You know what I'm saying? Who's bringing out? I see. So
yeah. I'm still learning this too, so I just realized we can do something.
Yo, we've been on here for 30 minutes, just riffing it. Let's go to the questions for 30 minutes, and then if your Instagram live goes down, I'm gonna go live on my IG, and then we're going live for IG for maybe 30 minutes on mine.
Yeah, we can do that after. But anyone that's on the Instagram live, I'm pointing at you people over there. Come join us on YouTube if you want to ask questions. If you're asking questions in the live stream, I can't read them. I think Shad can, but my phone's far away, so I can't ask those questions. So if you want
to, I got Germany, I got True, I got Sad but True. But we'll talk about that.
But let me ask you this, because this one came really early. This one
this guy's trying to stay relevant. Oh, I don't know.
What does that mean?
Yo, I swear to God, man.
Do you get that often though? Do wrestlers that leave the WWE? Because it's not that you're not doing things. I'm about to ask you something that's very relevant after this. But is that a common? I feel like wrestling fans tend to be the most negative fans sometimes.
I don't think it's wrestling fans. No, man. No. I think that we are just living in an era
where everybody has an opinion.
Where everybody has an opinion, and people who fear retaliation in real life have found an outlet to let out that negativity they want to let out in the world because they're being bullied or they're being, marginalized. Yeah, and so it's one of those things where I understand.
I kind of always say you can't take things personally because most of the time the people that are coming at you with stuff are probably having their own personal problems or having hard times themselves, and that's why. Like, they might be rude to you, but it's more of a problem with them than it is with you. Because if it really doesn't bother you, then there must not really be a problem. Like, if someone said something to me and offended me, then there's probably a problem there because I'm like, oh, maybe there is something to that.
It's a weird thing though, because like I don't wish negative on anybody.
Yeah.
Man, I remember I made one comment about Donald Trump, and motherfuckers went to my Wikipedia and destroyed it, and it was like I didn't even know what was going on. And then one of the Wikipedia an administrator had asked me some questions a few years ago, like 2009, 2010, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these notifications, because he put me on his stream. And it was like Wikipedia in my email. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I was like, it's probably spam. I'm just gonna leave it alone. And then finally, one of my boys was like, yo, man, aren't you in God of War? Aren't you in this? Aren't you in that? I was like, yeah. It's like, I want to go show my boy, and it's not on your Wikipedia. I was well, it's on my IMDb, so that really doesn't matter. And they were like, what? What's an IMDb? And I was like, oh, it's, I was like, whatever. And it's like, I was like, huh, I wonder what's going on. And I went to it, and I'm just seeing all this shit about me that's not even true. I'm seeing like all like just fucking like, oh, I'm a socialist, this and that. I raped a girl. Somebody put that I raped a girl. I got charged with rape. I got charged with child molestation. I like all this really fuck shit. And I just fucking freaked out and was like, I have no idea how to use Wikipedia. All right. And I just went on and I started like figuring, I was like, edit, and I went delete it. Like they try, because I have meetings with people all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever you meet somebody, it's customary to like Google their name.
100%.
Find out a little bit about them. That way you know who you're talking to. It's a respect thing.
We joked about that a couple of weeks ago when I said you were telling me stories. And I'm like, this wasn't on your Wikipedia. Because even myself, before we did our casual conconversation, I Googled your name and I wanted to see what you were up to.
So it was so weird at the time. I was like, what the fuck? Like, it freaked me out.
Yeah.
And, I remember I did like the thing about me raping a girl and stuff like that. I deleted it. And then I was blocked on Wikipedia. Yeah. And it was like, what the fuck? And I was freaking the fuck out because I had meetings that week, okay, with other producers and other things and other projects that I'm working on. And like, I'm literally, one of my IG was like, does anybody know Wikipedia? I went on Twitter, anybody know Wikipedia? And some guy got back to me, was like, yeah, the administrative guy that I tried to reach out to, he's like not doing Wikipedia no more apparently. And this guy was like, yeah, man, it seems like you have a bunch of trolls just smashing your page. So I'm going to lock it. And I'm going to talk to you directly and fix it. He's like, is this true about you? I was like, he's like, I can't add anything, but I just want to know what these things are true. And I was like, okay. Yeah. He's like, is this true? I was like, yes. Is this true? I was like, yes. He's like, is there a reference for that? I'm like, there should be. I don't, I don't Google myself every week, saying anymore. No, but it was like, it's so weird how having an opinion can anger so many people.
Yeah. And just because it's different than theirs. Well, that's the crazy thing. Nobody knows how to agree to disagree anymore. It's just like, oh no, trust me, you're wrong. You're ignorant because you think that way. You're ignorant because you think that way. When realistically, you have two separate opinions.
Yeah. My partner thinks the world is flat. I don't.
That's crazy.
See,
but look at me. I just called her out. That's crazy. What's crazy I don't believe that.
No. What's crazy to me is that literally I've sat there and watched, I want to say about 3 hours of stuff high as hell just because he said to me, I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. I watched him like, this nigga's an idiot.
But the only argument I have for that, and then don't get me wrong, I don't think the world is flat, but I'm like, if they went centuries or decades and decades and decades of thinking it was flat only to find out it's round, what if we're just going centuries and decades and decades and decades thinking it's round and really it's like a square or something? Like, how do we know?
You know what? It's at the point where I remember my boy was like, what do you think about flat Earth? And I was like, the United States ranks 27th in education. And he goes, what? I go, the United States ranks 27th in education.
I'm just saying, all the tools are man-made.
Now, if you go to a country that rates number 1 in education, and they go, yeah, we can prove the world's flat. I'm like, I'm interested.
Fair.
I know that you have an education. Oh, well, modern education ain't nothing. It's just slavery. Okay. If Eve Torres is his husband, right? Henry Gracie, love him. I can fight pretty good. All right. Average pro fighter, probably beat his ass heavyweight. Henner is about 6'2", 6'3", under 200 pounds, right? He is a high-level black belt. Yeah. No matter how big I was or strong I am, I couldn't do shit to that motherfucker. He raped me. Because why? Because he studied his craft. So I respect that.
Yeah.
When a guy studies his craft like that. Oh, hold on. Jason's calling me right now. Hold on.
I just want to point out, though, guys, I don't think the Earth is flat. I was just joking around. Don't quote me on that.
Hold on.
We're holding on.
Not really.
Yo, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, what's up?
We got JTG on the line.
Yeah, I'm on my podcast right now talking about you. You're on live.
Oh, those are the liar.
Everything I say is a lie. Hold up. You don't believe in flat Earth? I said you don't believe in flat Earth?
Do I believe in flat Earth?
Yeah.
I believe in flat Earth, but I know the road is not round. Don't agree with you guys. Research it.
He said, do you research?
What is the philosophy behind that? Like, I don't get it.
I love you though. What's good? Huh?
Show me the curvature.
Show me the. He said, show me the curvature.
Okay.
Oh, hey, we're gonna work out today.
Huh?
You gonna work out today?
Oh, I'm trying to.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it at 6. I hit you back a little bit later. All right. All right, peace. One. Boys.
Well, cool little free interview there. You're totally out of the live stream. But anyways, anyone on the Instagram live stream, once again, go to the YouTube, the Wrestling Classic YouTube channel. You can ask questions. I'm gonna ask a couple of them right now. There's one that I have myself now after we just talked about what we just talked about.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna end the live stream on yours.
Yeah.
Start a live stream on my IG right now.
Yeah.
And come ask for a request.
Okay, well, then I'm going to have to grab my phone. Okay, quick question. Can you answer this while I get my phone?
Yeah.
This is a question. Saw you in Birds of Prey. How was it hard to shoot that scene? It's cool that we can do this thing. I didn't know we could do this right now. I haven't watched the movie yet, so I haven't seen you in it. This question actually came up last week. Too. So I do want to ask you, how was filming Birds of Prey? How was it filming your scene? What's the story behind that? How did it go?
Filming Birds of Prey was awesome. Mainly filming Birds of Prey was awesome because of the crew that I had with me. A lot of the guys from 8711 was there. My boy Mata was there. John Hennigan, John Morrison. He was on set with us filming it. And filming Birds of Prey was awesome because, man, it just, it's good to have good people around you. You know what I'm saying? Sue Crawl, who's a producer on it, she's good people. Everybody was just really cool. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, like, when you have good people and a good crew around you, it feels awesome. Did you send me a request?
No, I was waiting for you. I thought you were going to start it this time.
Yeah, I'm already on.
Oh, what the? But yeah, no. So, let me send you a request. There's a 30-second delay on the live streams. So everyone was like, they couldn't hear my mic, but the reason they couldn't hear my mic was because we weren't trying to let them hear the mic. We wanted them to come to YouTube. Yeah. Most of the comments on the last stream was fix your mic. That's because I turned my volume fully down. So we're gonna have to figure that out for next week, how to do the live stream on Instagram and this at the same time where they can hear us properly. Other than that, man, yeah. So another question I had actually for you. Well, we'll let you answer this one too, because someone else sent this Jesus a while ago.
You were coming back as Cryme Time, and you were offered a singles. Would you rather work as a heel or a face? I'm a better babyface. In my opinion, I'm a better babyface than I am a heel. I'm a good heel. Like, I'm a good heel. When I was working Kane as a heel, it had been so long since I had been a heel that working somebody like Glenn was awesome. But then it was like, the fan interaction thing for me was the hardest part. Like, me being evil and bad, that's easy. I'm good.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Well, you were when you were gonna get that major push at the end of your run, though. That was gonna be as a heel, of course, though, right?
Yeah. So they had me working. Kane, Glenn, and I was supposed to work Glenn, then eventually go to Raw and work Cena, and working Glenn was awesome because, like, Glenn is like the litmus. Like, if you guys don't realize, Kane is like the litmus test for your push. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you go with Kane, you can do good with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Because he's big and he can move, and he's one of the best. And so, like, I had Glenn, and I worked Glenn for a while, and then I was supposed to go work John, go to Raw and work John after the draft, but that didn't happen. and that's when everything started going downhill. So
that's interesting. I wanted to ask you a question about fighting now, because you brought up the whole Gracies and everything. I'm like, have you ever considered going back to fighting after wrestling?
No.
No, it's never been a thing for you.
I've had opportunities, especially after I left WWE. I remember I left WWE, I was 32, 33. And I've had opportunities. I boxed at Churchill Boxing, which used to be Wildcard West. And the first few years I was going back, I was boxing like crazy. And I just started taking on all challenges. I would spar with amateur boxers who were coming up, who were in heavyweights, you know what I'm saying? So I'd spar with amateur heavyweights, and then I go to Gleason's, and I'd spar with amateurs at Gleason's and stuff like that. And then I come back here, and then whenever I go somewhere in or out of town, I would try to find somebody I knew in the fight game to spar with guys. And I was having fun sparring with guys, and I was like, man, I could win this fight. Then I put some feelers out there, and I was like, hey, how much to fight in India? And I was like, oh, we'll give you 30,000. And I was like, just did a TV show. I just did 2 weeks on a TV show. I made 8,000 real quick, and didn't have to fight. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of those things for me personally, where it was like the amount of energy to put in to the fight game wasn't worth the reward. You know what I mean? I got my fights. I got all my I got my experiences in Thailand. I fought in Thailand. You know what I'm saying? I had a great time fighting in Thailand. I fought in the US. I fought in, Brazil and Venezuela. And I just didn't feel like it no more, man. There's no hunger for me.
Do you think it's more because technically, realistically, you started with fighting, you went to wrestling, and going back to fighting, as an activity, you do enjoy it, but going back to it would kind of feel like, been there, done that, let's try this acting thing. You're in this trail of moving forward rather than trying to go back.
I feel like this. You, as fans, get to see 10 minutes of action in the ring. Same thing goes for fighting. As fans, you can see 10 to 30 minutes of action in a ring. What you don't see is the fucking hours to get to that point, And with wrestling, it was years of training to get to the point to go to WWE. With fighting, it's months of training in camp and just arguing with your girlfriend, arguing with your family, stress and pain. All those things are amplified because you're dieting, you're trying to make weight, you're trying to. It's all these things are super amplified. And then when it's time for your fight, you think the world will be happy for you. But no, most fighters know the day of your fight, everybody comes asking for shit. And everybody comes with their drama. And before you walk to the ring, everybody pours their negativity and their drama on top of you. Yo, can I get tickets? Yo, what time is the fight? Yo, da-da-da-da. Your girlfriend arguing with you about BS that happened months ago. It's just right before a fight, the most amount of drama happens to you. And it's just the weirdest, stupidest thing. I don't know why it works itself out that way. But most fighters know the week of a fight, turn your phone off.
Well, let me ask you this then, because this is a common question or a common debate amongst the wrestling fans and someone who has a background in wrestling and a background in fighting. The CM Punk UFC career. How do you feel about it, overall perspective? I'll give you just a quick glance of what I feel about it. From just a normal, looking at him not as CM Punk the wrestler or anything else, looking at him as a human, he did it. He wanted to do it. He did it. Was it successful when it comes to wins and losses? No. But was it successful as self-gratifying? Hey, I want to try this out. I did it. I got paid top dollar for it just because my name recognition. And yeah, maybe I lost, but I did it. And everything you just said about the training that goes into it, everything that goes into leading to a fight, I feel like you'd have to still feel accomplished knowing you went through all of that. But now, that's from my perspective. I think, okay, I get a lot of people can hate on it or judge him on it, but I'm at least he did it. And a lot of people want to do things and never do it or actually pursue it or follow through. He followed through fully. But now, from your opinion, your overall consensus of the CM Punk UFC era.
Well, you know what it is. I look at it from the perspective also of you have a desire, you have a want, you have to go for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what other people think about it. Win, lose, or draw, you put your effort into it. You know, I don't have those. I'm good friends with Rico Verhoeven. Okay. And when Rico fought, I was like, man, I'm so like happy for him. But then I'm watching the fight. I'm like, oh man, something's wrong. He's not there. And then he's like, he still won because his conditioning was so at a high level that he could push through anything mental that was going on in his life. And then later on, he tried to explain like the things that are going on in his life, you know. But that's his career. He's a fighter every day. You look at guys like Batista, Punk, Dave's fight was right, you know, but it's something that he always wanted to see, and he got a chance to see it. Was it a good fight? No. Did he train for it? Yes. Is he proud of it? As proud as he can be. His opponent might have changed, but he showed up ready to go. So when you do things, you do it for self. You know what I'm saying? When you do it outside your career, win, lose, or draw, it's what you want to do. Usain Bolt played soccer. Ain't nobody talking about shit about it. Was he a great soccer player? Yeah. But he got to do something he want to do. It has nothing to.
Jordan went and played baseball.
Yeah. It has. And it's the thing that I think most fans don't understand is that personal accomplishments have nothing to do with you.
Yes, there you go.
Right, like my personal accomplishments have nothing to do with the fans. Okay, I appreciate and I love the support, but when you weren't supporting me, this brain had to support itself. This heart had to support itself. You know. And that's the thing I think some people don't realize. They're like, oh, you're a good wrestler. Stick to wrestling. Hey, I actually did Shakespeare in the park, which was nerve-wracking to me to do Shakespeare in the park than to be in a ring. And I'm sitting there on a stage and I'm looking out, and there's maybe like 300 people out there. They're not here for me. They think, oh, Shad Gaspard's gonna be doing Shakespeare. Let's go to Temple. No.
Yeah.
they were like,
yeah.
It's like they didn't know I was going to be there, and it's like it's a kind of an ego thing sometimes because you're so used to like, oh well, I'm on the card, so they're here to see me.
Yeah,
no, it's they're here to see good entertainment. That's it. And if you happen to wow them, awesome. If you don't, that's on you. You know what I mean? So I always look like that. Like when I see guys like do those things, it's for them.
Yeah.
It's not Punk's career was great for Punk. It was great for Phil.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have a problem with his career, then you should drop weight, go train, and get your ass into a ring. And you see how good that goes. Because last time I checked, you talking shit from the couch ain't really working.
Yeah. I even say that when people try to critique like the in-ring wrestling, I'm like, none of us have ever wrestled. How do we know? Like, you know, we can have opinions about like what we like and storylines and characters, like, you know, but realistically, we don't know what it's like to lace our boots, go in there and take a bump and it going perfectly. When I think it mainly bothers me when someone's like, this person botches all the time. So can you tell me you can do it better? If you're critiquing it and you can do it better, then great. If you're critiquing it and you've never taken, I don't know. It's like, don't be calling people out for stuff like that. We don't know.
I remember I got into it with a fan. And it was kind of weird. It was like, because like I've never met Nia Jax.
That's a hot topic this week. Nia Jax is dangerous in the ring. A lot of fans are coming at her.
I've never met her. I remember being at the airport a few months ago, and I thought that was her. I think she was on another flight, and then she sat across from me. And I'm not one of those people where I go saying, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm a wrestler. You're a wrestler. We should be friends." No, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. But I do remember watching her in a match, and I was like, "Oh wow, she's really smooth. Oh wow, she's really good." You know. And I hear people think, "Oh, she's dangerous. She's dangerous." I'm dangerous.
Yeah.
Randy Orton's dangerous. Edge is dangerous. Everybody in this business is fucking dangerous. This ain't ballet. Okay? And if you're coming from the indies and you're going, and no, guess what? The more that you do, it doesn't make the product better. You know? Sometimes you gotta lay it in. And if you gotta lay it in, you gotta understand, when I got into business, first thing they would do is this. They go kick you in the stomach, chop you in the chest, hit you in the back. Boom, boom, boom. If you can't deal with that in a match, get the fuck out the ring. Get the fuck out the ring. Moving forward, guess what? That giant needs that little guy. The giant needs to make the little guy look fast. Little guy needs to make the giant look strong. If you guys don't understand that relationship, guess what? The little guy's going to take more heat than the big guy. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
JT taking heat in the match way more than I have. Okay? It's just the way it is.
That's crazy.
Look at her as a worker. You got to understand. She is a giant amongst the women's division. They need to step up and crush her. That's their job. That's their mentality. Now, if you're saying, "Oh, she's unsafe," what are you going to do about it?
Yeah,
you got to work around it. Guess what? Bob Holly isn't quote unquote safe. Still got in the ring with that fucker.
Yeah,
still the ass whooping. Still kept on moving. You know what I'm saying? Keep it going. Let's go.
No, I feel that, man. That's true. And I just think maybe it's I don't want to start this conversation, but maybe it's just the culture of society today that makes
it not white.
No, just the culture of society. Culture of society today too.
A little white chick who's blonde hair and fucking all sedity and all prissy. All right, let's be honest. If Nia Jax was a big fat white chick from Louisiana, all right, and she punched Becky Lynch in the face, these motherfuckers wouldn't be crying about it.
No, I just think it's also just that everybody's crying about stuff.
Who punched a white girl in the face, and guess what? The white girl still wants to work with her. People still want to work with her. It's a company. None of the women in WWE are going and saying, we're not working with her. They're going, oh, wow, people actually think you're a crazy psycho bitch. Let's work with this.
Yeah.
Let's build a match around it. Oh,
well, there's money with Becky and Nia just because of that punch that was an accident. That punch made, for a couple of things from that one punch, if we go back to it, that shot with Becky bleeding made Becky cooler than she already was.
Made her way cooler than she is.
It made Nia look more like a monster.
Yeah.
And there's something they can go back to. Which it seems like they are kind of going to go back to right now. Since Nia's back from her 2 knee surgeries and she's back in action. Like, there's a story already laid out there. And some of the best things in wrestling are because of that. I don't know. You might have been in the company at the time, or you might have been OVW. I don't remember if you remember that one match between JBL and Eddie Guerrero where Eddie was bleeding like a stuffed pig because he cut himself wrong, right? He said he hit an artery or something, right?
Yeah.
Listen, that's an accident. It happened. But we'll remember that match because of it and how much he was bleeding. So it's like accidents and things happen, but they leave us with a different impression, and it kind of is what it is,
Yeah. It's funny. My wife and I were watching the Django. Games. And my boys worked on the film, and before it came out, they were like, oh, hey, you want to be a Mandingo? I was like, oh my god. I was like, yeah, and they were like, oh, no, never mind. I was like, why? They were like, there's no real fight scene.
Okay.
We're hoping to hire you, WWE guy, Django, to a fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not that kind of movie. So don't worry about it. It's all good. And I remember my boy, we went to the premiere, we saw it, and I remember I was like, man, the scene with Leonardo DiCaprio was crazy. I was like, he cut his hand. And he was like, oh my God. He goes, we were on set. And during the scene, Leonardo DiCaprio cuts his hand in the scene in the dining room.
Yeah.
Spoiler if you haven't seen the movie. So he cuts his hand in the scene in the dining room. And Tarantino's watching the screen. And his assistant goes to step in, and Tarantino stops him and says, okay, and they just keep on recording the scene. and DiCaprio and Jamie Foxx and everybody in there are going at it. And they're just going and just going. And he wipes the blood from his hand on the girl's face. That wasn't written in the script.
No way.
He's just going. He's going. And people and everybody is seeing that Leonardo's hand is dripping blood, but he's not getting out of character. He is Calvin Coolidge. He is in this fucking scene.
Yeah.
And it's such a performance. They shot it one time. And when they said cut, he steps aside. He stops breathing. He goes, I cut my hand. And he goes, we know. And they tape his hand up. And then Jamie goes, moving on, right? And they go, yeah, we're moving on.
But isn't that like even
that's what wrestling happens. That happens
yeah.
so much, and fans get mad that real life situation things don't go to plan. Things don't go to plan, and great things happen.
But that's what I was trying to say. Like I always say, generally on the TWC show on my page, I'm like, the wrestling I grew up with was so raw and gritty because yes, they had a plan of what they were going to do. But the wrestlers went out there and they cut promos. They made mistakes in their promos. They fumbled over their words.
Yeah.
The matches were called in the ring. And as much as it was scripted, a scripted form of entertainment, it was way less produced and it just felt more real and raw and anything could happen. Where nowadays, everything feels way overly produced. Everyone's saying exactly what they're supposed to say. Everyone's doing exactly what they're supposed to do. So when something does happen that's raw, gritty, and by mistake, let's appreciate it because that doesn't happen that often, at least on WWE television. It's very rare.
Promos today are like, so you think you're going to talk to me like that? And say those things to me right here in Dallas, Texas? Nah. What we're going to do is we're going to have a match this Sunday. It's like, shut the fuck up. I remember we had a promo with Shelton and Charlie.
Yeah.
And Shelton's talking, and Shelton goes, you two think because you're all hood, you can do that? And I go, whoa, calm down there, Wesley Pipes, all right? This isn't one of your movies. And Sheldon starts laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
Because Wesley Pipes is a porn star.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
And so Shelton starts, like I could look at Shelton and see him in the ring, and he goes, shit, motherfucker. and like Charlie is dying laughing. And I'm cutting a promo. I was like, you and your little friend over here, you want to run him out? And then we start going at it. And then Shelton's supposed to cut a line, but we just go off book and we just have fun. And then backstage, Vince is like, Shelton, most personality I've seen out of you in weeks. Good job. And he's like, thanks. And he's like, goes, Wesley Pipes. Who is that? Well, he's an actor, boss. He goes, do it. Okay. I would get away with so much stuff with Vince, and he'd be like, I knew that. I know that.
You can't be wrong. You can't be wrong. He had to know.
I know. He's like, I knew that. That's like, you ever see the scene with Vince and Jericho in The Office? And then
I probably have.
So it's like Vince and Jericho in The Office, and then me and JTG come in, and Vince basically wants to rob the office, right?
Yeah.
So we're going over the scene, and Jericho is like, what's Contact going to do? So we come in the office, and one of my favorite shows is Wayne and Brothers.
Yeah.
Like, Shawn Wayans, Marlon Wayans. I love the Wayans. I love the Wayans family. Like, they're one of the most influential Black Hollywood families ever, and they deserve more credit than anybody gives them. But I remember going to Vince's, going to the office. We're standing there, and they were like, "Okay, guys, you guys gonna come in? We're gonna look around, and then you guys are just gonna rob the place." And I go, "How about if we sing a song and you guys join us?" And Vince goes, "I'm down for it. What's the song?" Yeah. And we go, there's some money being made around here. Chit, 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 money being made around here. Chit, 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 big old cars, fancy things, diamond rings, if you like them things. And Vince is like, I never heard this song. We're doing it. Yeah. Like one take, like we can pick Vince's line and Jericho their line. That's it. And then we walk out the room. We come in, one take, and we go this. And then Vince he goes, diamond rings. And then him and Jericho, if you like the kind of things, that's happening.
Yo, I need to find that. Where is that?
Oh shit! My own phone.
No, I'll find it. Don't worry. Because the other one the other one that I'm a really big fan of was the one with William Regal and he starts dancing with you guys at SummerSlam 2007.
That was, what's funny? That was totally like Regal, I've known Regal forever.
Yeah.
And Regal, I remember we used to have deep conversations because, Regal died a couple of times. And I was like, how you died? Yeah. I was like, how many times have you died? And he goes, I don't know, 5 or 6.
For those that don't know, Regal has actually died, medically has been deemed dead multiple times. If you read his book or heard him on any podcast or anything, he's talked about his issues that he had in the past, and he's actually clinically died a handful of times. So that's what Shad is referring to when he says Regal has died 5 times. Okay, go on.
See, this is the best thing about having you. You get to keep me straight on the narrow, and no, but he was like I remember we started going over it, and he just was like, "All right, I got this," and we were like, "All right," and he just took over it. He's like, it was all him, Regal's just a funny guy, but he's never allowed to be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever seen? I don't know if you guys seen this episode. I remember I was backstage, and they started playing his music, his old manly man music. It was
Superstars. He was facing Daniel Bryan. I posted it so many times. He's walking out. It's his normal music. Midway through the little thing, and he goes, "He's a man, just a manly man. He's a man. He's a man." And he's just looking around like, "What just happened?"
Oh, we was dying laughing.
So tell me about that, because I've always was curious about that. Like, why did that happen?
Because, man, it's like having fun, dude. We're on the road so much, it gets like tiresome. We gotta have fun. And so, it was just one thing that just came out of there, like, hey, go to the monitors right now. We're going to prank Regal. I was like, we're going to prank Regal? Oh, fuck. Yeah. So we go to the monitors and we're just watching, and he's just ear to ear, just smiling.
Yeah, you can see it. I've posted the clip multiple times.
That's the thing I think people don't understand. I always get the question, are you and JTG still friends? Are you guys still, connected? And I'm like, yeah, man, Jay's my brother for life. You know what I'm saying? I'll never, ever, ever not be with Jay in some way in life. Jay's my brother for life. We've always gonna we're always gonna be together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
he just called you on the show.
Huh? Yeah, he called me on the show just now.
Yeah.
People always like, oh, well, you hit him in the face. I'm like, yeah, I hit a lot of people in the face. We're still friends.
Yeah. Last question. Very last question. Because I wanted to bring this up before, but we started talking about other things that were really interesting as well.
Funny, I realized we didn't get to topics like the news and stuff that's going on.
Yeah, that's because we have so much to talk about.
So hold up. So let's this question, and let's start getting some current event stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, fine. Yeah. One last question, and I guess this is kind of current event stuff, but just it's more of a fighting wrestling question. It's a huge crossover. I just wanted to pick your brain on it because fans, I don't, but I've seen fans even in my own comment section get in arguments about this.
Fake George Bush hilarious.
Huh?
One fan was like, the fake George Bush thing was hilarious.
Yeah. But if someone goes and fights in the MMA world, whether they're very successful, winning, got a lot of wins or not, or whether they've lost a bunch of times and they come back to wrestling, should people take their fighting career in very high consideration when they come back to wrestling? Because there's always that stigma, well, he got his ass kicked in MMA, he's gonna come back, he's gonna win, who's gonna believe that? And I'm like, they're two totally different entities. They're two totally different things. But I get for some people, it's like, well, if he got his ass kicked over there, how are we going to believe that he's going to be any good if he comes back over here? Do you think that's a thing they should be concerned about?
Robert Johnson Jr. was an alcoholic, a drug addict, a deviant, and got arrested multiple times. He's nobody's hero if you look at his early life. Doesn't mean he can't play one in a movie and break box office records.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, come on. There's a lot of guys I know that I honestly don't think could win in a fight. There's a lot of guys I've seen fight, legit fight, and it's horrible. You know what I'm saying? But are they great entertainers? Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. They're amazing. By no means, and I don't say this in any disrespect because I like the guy, Paul, Hunter, Triple H. I don't see Paul going up to 3 guys in a bar and going, "You guys want to fucking go?"
Yeah, that's not personality.
That's not a personality, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Do I see Scott Hall doing that? Yeah. Do I see Billy Gunn doing that? Yeah. Do I see Nash doing that? Yeah. But Paul's the guy. He's like, yo, man, let's just talk about this.
He's the reserved one. That's why he was a part of the clique. That's why he was a DD.
Yeah, it's like I love Jason. Like my partner, I like Jason said this one line, and I always bring it up for him. He goes, "I'm not a fighter, but I'm the furthest thing from a bitch."
Yeah,
like he's not a fighter, but
he won't start the fight, but he'll have your back if it goes down.
Yeah, but he's the furthest thing from a bitch.
Yeah,
he will beat the shit out of you if you try to fight my partner, and you're gonna walk away having respect for him. You know what I'm saying? His manhood currently would never let him fall on some BS.
Yeah.
But don't. I don't know if I should say this. I can say this. I have a mutual friend with Andre Arlovsky, right? And Andre wants to transition to wrestling. And I said I don't think it's a good idea because Andre's conditioning from MMA currently would have him have a good career, but he would have to grow in so many other areas, at the same time in order to keep up with the high level of talent that we currently have. Ronda Rousey is a day one die-hard wrestling fan. Day one die-hard. She's been planning her WrestleMania moment since she was a little girl. So when she came into the business, it's a little easier for her to transition. But if you're just an athlete who wants to try it, the competition is stiff now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been stiff, but now
there's tons of athletes that want to come through now.
People don't understand, man. I think Braun is so green and amazing at the same time.
Yeah.
Braun is so green and so unbelievably amazing at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that combination of agility, strength, and speed don't come around very often. I've seen it a lot. I've seen the Russ McCullets and other 7-footers come like the Eli's and other like Andrew Slocum, who Andy Slocum could have been Braun before Braun. Okay, you remember Andy came out with TJ for a while.
Yeah,
and Jackson Andrews, he could have been Braun. But things happen. He was in a relationship with a girl that was toxic for both parties, and it just went bad. So Braun comes in, and he's not dating any divas. He's not, picking it up really fast. But an opportunity comes, and he capitalized on it, and he was surrounded by guys who actually care, like Braid Wyatt.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah,
we can talk about Bray for a good hour again. But we want to talk about current stuff. We can do a whole thing on Bray because I think he's one of the most
underrated,
stop and go, but underrated. Yeah.
Underrated as hell. So it's one of those things where I tell people judge a performer by their talent, not by anything they've done in the past. Judge them by their talent currently.
Yeah.
Saying. If you want to judge talent, like I always hate hearing this stuff when guys try to shit on somebody, be like, "Oh, they're giving back then sucked," and I'm like, okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin used to come out like this and had blonde hair.
He was the ringmaster.
He's come out like this with the ringmaster. It's like Undertaker used to
Rocky Maivia, the blue chip.
Hey, that was a good gimmick, by the way. I thought the task was Caribbean. I was like, oh, he's Caribbean. He's coming to SoCal.
I don't know what was going on. I was a little kid. I'm like, what? This guy is what? What is he? He beat Triple H for the Intercontinental title. I'm like, what?
That got me back into wrestling. Seriously. That match between Rocky and Hunter.
It was on a Raw.
Yeah, that match got me back into wrestling. Like,
oh, wow.
Like, that match was the match where I was like, I'm 1,000% going to be a pro wrestler when I watched Hunter and Rock go at it. And I remember.
It's crazy because it's such a specific match, but I remember it too. I had on a VHS tape.
So this is bad, but it was funny because we were on a tour, and I remember they got me drunk and they got Jay drunk, and I threw up all over his John Cena, by the way. I threw up all on his arm and everything. But I vaguely remember. I remember going to the gym the next day, and I'm working out in UK, I'm working out, and Hunter was like, "Hey, I just want to tell you, I appreciate you saying that about how my match with Rocky made you want to become a wrestler." And I was like, "When did I say that?" He goes, "Last night on the bus on the tour." I was like, "I was so drunk." He goes, "Yeah, we know. By the way, you also told us about you getting locked up and being in prison." I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah." They told us about us, you were locked up and you watched it because it was legit. I was in juvenile and I was watching it on the monitor in juvenile. But I never told anybody that. But I told them that on tour. But he was like, "So this Cryme Time thing's for real, huh?"
We're gonna talk about one current event thing. I really do the stories you've told us about Hunter and Stephanie and Vince today were real cool. That I didn't want to stop you, but you're right. We should talk about something current just to end this off. And the one thing I want to talk about is we were kind of talking about it off the air. Florida, they are loosening up their rules during this coronavirus, Steve Carino virus, whatever you want to call it. Callbacks to our previous episodes, but people. They're loosening up the rules. They're opening up restaurants. They're putting out all these new regulations and stuff just for the state of Florida.
Yeah,
one of them is kind of lean towards the option for AEW and WWE, who both kind of call Florida their home, Jacksonville for AEW and Orlando and stuff for the WWE, to allow audiences back at their shows at their own discretion. Like they get to make that choice. Not that like they're allowed. There's obviously going to be some regulations about it. I don't know what they are, but they're allowed to have an audience again if they want. Florida's a weird state with its own mindset when it comes to America. From what I've heard, I'm not American, but anytime I say anything about Florida, everyone's like, Florida's a little different. But like,
Florida is, I remember when WWE sent me to Tampa to work out down there.
Yeah.
For FCW. And I remember going to John Cena's gym, and I'm leaving the gym, and I go in this gas station, and it's outside of Tampa. And I walk in the gas station, there's a big pickup truck, and it has two flags in the back. One's a Confederate flag. One's a U.S. flag.
Yeah.
And mind you, at the time, I'm 270 right now, so it's not far from where I am right now. But I walk past the truck, and I see the Confederate flag, I see the thick flag. I walk in the store with my tank top, all big, come back out, and the Confederate flag is now gone. And then I go to the car, I start pumping gas, and the guy goes, "Hey, bro, you Shad from Prime Time?" I go, "Uh-huh." He goes, "Man, brother, it'd be a blessing if I could get a photo with you." I was like, "Sure, no problem, bro." Took a photo with the guy. He gets back in his fucking truck. He just had a Confederate flag and drives off.
Florida.
How
do you feel about the whole fans coming back though? Because the pandemic's still going on. I don't know if I shared it with you, but over here in BC, like I think we might have talked about it. I've been doing a lot of shows, but we flattened our curve. We weren't getting those many cases. Next thing you know, I live near a beach, so I always kind of do my little beach cruise, right? Just to get out for a second. Yeah. So I like to cruise past White Rock Beach, and I was cruising by one Saturday, and it was packed. There was just people out there like at a regular normal time, kite surfing and picnicking, and the tide was low, so people were like walking the tide, and like, people still do that while this is all going on, but you can tell people are trying to keep distance from each other and everything. Yeah. This was like legit, like everybody was just out there being close, like no problem. Like, we're fine now. That same Sunday, the following Sunday, 50 more cases. The following Tuesday, 90 more cases, and everyone's scared again.
Yeah.
That's just my example of saying, like, I don't know, even if you get the opportunity to bring fans back in, personally, I think maybe hold off on it until – and trust me, this is coming from someone that is having a hard time watching wrestling right now because I miss the fans. And I'm like, I just can't get into anything that's happening because I miss the fans. But just for health reasons and stuff, I think we still just, chill.
It's one of those things where we're such an interactive community, pro wrestling fans, and I just don't think it should do it.
Yeah,
because it's like I know there's so much misinformation and information out there, and it panics people because everybody's trying to leech on to the best information they can to deal with the situation the best way they can. You don't want to live in fear, but you have to live in reality. And the reality is that there's a danger out there, that there is a disease that we have no cure for. If I get the flu, I can take some NyQuil, Dayquil. I can go to the store and get that. You know what I'm saying? I get COVID-19, which I actually got COVID-19 coming back from Canada. We did a show with Santino, and me and Jason were in Houston, and we both started feeling sick, and Jason got it before me, and then I got it, and then I was down for like 7 days. It's the worst fucking feeling in the world to have that disease, and you like, I literally wanted to claw at my chest to rip it open,
take
it out. You know what I'm saying? I like sat on my couch and like literally had to sleep like this up because I felt when I laid down, I was just gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And for those of you who haven't got it, I pray to God you don't get it. But because I know what it's felt like and what I've gone through with it, it's not worth the risk. And you know, WWE is normally the first to go back to things. 9/11, WWE was the first to go back.
Even this whole pandemic, they've been rolling the entire time.
Always the first, because that's Vince's mentality. I'm not going to be stopped. Nobody's going to stop me. I'm going to keep on going forward. I don't think we should go back just yet. And it's like,
I think
it's crazy because I go to the beach at least 3 times a week with my family.
Yeah.
Like because the beach is like right there. Like I go to the beach, but I don't live in an area where people don't have a lot. Like I live in Marina Del Rey.
Yeah.
People here, like, you know, they're kind of more
aware.
Yeah. It's like, hey, can you not come next to me? It's like, oh yeah, no problem.
That's what it's like usually here too. Like you'll see people there, but you can tell if they're with people, it's like their spouse or their family. That's it, and then everyone's kind of separate and whatnot. People they're already stuck in the house with, you know what I mean? But
sorry, my boy Eric the Trainer just popped into the
live stream.
Yeah, the Instagram Live. Eric's one of the best guys in the world.
What's up, Eric? But I just like, and I don't know. I just think it's not the best to go back to the fans yet. Like I know Florida's a little loose with their rules. Once again, like I appreciate them still putting shows on. Like that's cool. You know, they're doing what they're doing, but I don't think we need fans until it's like clear. Because I think WWE wouldn't do it either. If a fan gets sick attending a show, that's a bad look for the shareholders and the media.
The main thing about it is people are hurting.
Yeah.
People are hurting financially, people are hurting mentally, emotionally. And, you know, let's be honest. America doesn't take care of its people like it should. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, like I have every I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But I know enough that unemployment is my money. I pay You know, I know enough to know that the checks the government is sending is my money. I pay my taxes. I pay into it.
Yeah.
They have people who are like, I don't want a handout. I'm like, it's your money that you're being handed back that you pay into. You know what I'm saying?
For a crisis such as this.
Yeah. I'm like, and it's like, it's a lack of understanding what your government actually does with the finances that you actually give them. Okay? And the government receives so much from its people and it wastes it on so many stupid things that when it's time to spend money on the actual people who put in, the government needs to take care of them.
Yeah.
They don't need to like make them feel like shit. I told my boys the other day, I said, I own buildings in New York. I have companies here in LA that I've partnered into, and every one of my companies have gotten a grant.
Yeah,
one of my companies have gotten aid from the government. In New York, the buildings have gotten grants. We suspended rent for what's called 2 to 3 buildings. The other building where we have a partnership with somebody else. They don't want to suspend the rent. They want to have tenants pay. We've already put them on, we've gotten a grant for that building. It's an argument, you know what I'm saying? But overall, we've taken care of the things necessary in order for things to be better.
Yeah.
The government has these programs. And as a businessman, I know of them. As a citizen, I know of them. But I talk to so many people who are just like, oh, I don't feel like, I'm not begging the government. I'm like, you're not begging the government to do what you pay into.
Yeah.
You're not begging the government to do what's right for you. So it's like with fans going back, I don't think it's a safe thing just yet, you know? And I hate the issue of, well, if I don't feel sick, man, I'm healthier than freaking 90% of you a-holes who claim to be healthy.
Yeah.
Okay? And when I got it, put me on I don't have any underlying conditions. I'm Haitian. Okay. Yeah. We got strong immune systems. All right. Literally, we've lived in shit and still survived.
Yeah.
I come from good stock. When I got it, I couldn't move my body, my limbs, my chest. My son literally laid with me one day and was crying because he was like, what's going on with you? I couldn't even train with him. So it's one of those things where it's like, I don't see many of, I've been around this country. I don't see many people surviving. Like if this disease legitimately spread like it was supposed to, okay, and got to every American, and every single American had to go through what I went through when I got it, people will take it more serious.
No, 100%. And I just also I don't know.
Yeah, because there's just no way you with a 60%, 40% body fat, is surviving this disease.
Yeah.
Let's say on average, 30% body fat, works out twice a week, and moderately eats healthy. I don't think would really survive this.
Yeah.
If me, who trains almost every day, been training my whole entire life since I was fucking 5 years old, pro athlete, and I got it, and I was like, yo, I want to die. I'm going to die. Like literally in my brain, I started getting all my shit in order. I was like, my wife gets this, my son gets this, my sister gets this. I was like, I'm gonna die. That's it. So get my shit in order. It's like, yeah, it's not a joke, and that's not me. That's not even me being political about it.
Yeah,
that's being, like, realistic about it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that with us because I just read that today. I don't know how accurate or how true that actually is, that statement, but I do know a lot of things in Florida are being kind of bans and rules and regulations have been lifted and they are making changes. And I haven't really, it just seems kind of shocking to me because I don't know if you are a mayor that cares about your city. I understand caring about the economy. I get that. But at the same time, if you want to care about your people, it's probably not the best bet because there are people out there, that dude with the Confederate flag in the back of his truck that's most likely to be like, we're free to do this. Let's go do it without second thinking it,
Well, see, this is about Americans. Americans have always thought, white Americans, as I should say, a lot of white Americans, and this isn't me being racist, but always thought that they were free because they weren't restricted until they go into situations where they try to act free and then they're restricted. And then their skin color and their background doesn't come in as assist. And as a bouncer and a bodyguard, and even as a wrestler, how when that privilege is taken away, it's a shock to them. Like, whoa, you're not supposed to touch me like that. Do that to me. And then cops are like, shut the fuck up. And it's like somebody help. I'm standing there like,
welcome to the club.
Bro, relax. Stop. Yeah. No, this isn't right. Bro, just stop resisting. Trust me. I've had it where cops are like, stop resisting. I'm like, dude, I'm not even resisting.
No, for sure.
Just like, are you gonna calm down? I was like, bro, I'm not even moving, bro. Shut up. And I be boom. Cool. Yeah. One punch. No, it's gonna go later on. It's like I can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. I've heard, you know many times I heard stop resisting and I'll go like this. Stop resisting. I was like, you're just saying it right now.
Yeah, it's already been stopped.
Like, cool. I'm not resisting. Yeah.
So no, it's weird. I just also find it so fascinating though that like being a Canadian, like a lot of you guys, I think Americans have a little bit more to fear, mostly maybe the low income middle class Americans, because your guys' healthcare systems run off of insurance and how much money you have in insurance. Where, here in Canada, we got universal healthcare. The thing that is stressful here is when people are actually getting sick of things that aren't coronavirus. It's really tough to actually go to the doctors and stuff right now because they're filled with people that are worried about this. And I get that, but I think there's a lot more to fear in America because even if you do get sick, if you can't afford it, even if it is coronavirus, like it's going to be an issue for you. Or
there's no backup plan here.
Yeah, like, and that's why I always find, like, that's a personal thing. Like, I was in California in February, and everyone was already kind of talking about it. I'm like, I want to get my ass back to Canada as soon as possible if this thing takes off anymore, because I don't got insurance down here. I don't. Like, I have no insurance in America.
Well, that's the thing. Americans have the mindset of, let me take care of me myself, and then when it gets really bad, I'm gonna go to the doctor.
Yeah,
and, like, you do realize, like, I actually remember, I don't want to say his name because he didn't make it on TV, but he was in OVW with me, and I remember he had a toothache in the back of his tooth, and I was like, bro, you should go to the dentist. And he was like, yeah, it's gonna be like probably $1,000 for the dentist. I was like, yeah, but your toothache's gonna be gone. And he's like, nope, not going to dentist. And then I remember he got on the road and he's making money, and I was like, bro, you should go to the dentist. I don't want to give all that money to the dentist. And then finally, when he had to go to the dentist, they were like, yeah, you're losing this whole row of teeth. And then he lost his job, and then he lost his contract. Then he lost his contract. Now he's back on the indies, and he's lost a whole row of teeth, and he has to put replacement teeth in there, and he had to get the cheapest ones he can get because he let it fester, and he had like a something in his tooth that was like a pus thing.
yeah.
It spread from one tooth all the way down to the whole row of teeth at the bottom, and I was like, that's America's mentality.
That's wild.
Let me wait till it gets really bad, and I can't take it no more. Then go to the doctor. It's not. It's a weird system here, man, and it's a sad thing. I don't think we're going to be in arenas cheering for people within the next year.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, man, most people are like worried about everybody. You can't worry about everybody because a lot of people are making their own decisions. But you gotta fucking take care of yours and you. Like, I remember I got in trouble with somebody on Twitter. They were like, "What did you write?" It's like, "Oh, you get that stimulus check. You got to thank Donald Trump." And I was like, "I'm not getting a stimulus check. I make too much money."
Yeah.
I was like, "But if you get yours, feed your kids first. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Feed your family first, and feed yourself, and then pay your bills." And they were like, "What? I'm paying my bills first." And I was like, "Okay, great." And they paid the bills. And now they're on Twitter and Instagram and everything complaining about they have no food to eat for them and their kids. But you paid your rent. No.
Yeah.
Feed your family. I can't. The guy who I'm paying for the mortgage, he's taking, like, my apartments. They're taken care of. They just hit earning profits. Take care of my kid first. Take care of my wife first. Then, if there's anything left, you get. What about the landlords? Well, the landlords can file for grants, and the government is there for them, because it's like, guess what? Owning a building is owning a company.
Yeah.
It's a property. You can get assistance. It's a weird system, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak because a lot of my people that I got to pay for bills have sent us the emails like, "Yo, it's cool right now.
Yeah, I know.
We're not charging you guys if you're late or you missed it.
It's all good, bro.
We're just letting you know how much it is, but you can pay it when you can pay it. We're all in this together." Getting a lot of those "we're all in this together" emails from my bill people, which is cool. I really do appreciate it, but I don't know what it's like in America in a lot of places. But like my phone bill, that company reached out like, "Yo, it's cool. This is your bill. Pay it when you can. We understand."
You know what's funny? It was crazy. Like, Sprint was like, "Yo, bro, so good." Gas company, so good, bro. Don't worry about it. We got you. Electric company, same thing. Cable bill, fuck you, pay me.
It's weird time because I'm like, I got a couple of these. I'm like, oh man, because I got bills too, but some of them were like, it's cool. Pay when you can.
You gonna need this internet, motherfucker.
Yeah. It's just, and it's also, I don't blame people that click the two, because you fall into such a routine of like knowing to pay your bills at this point and this and that, that they're not used to the whole, oh wait, now I really need to, like, okay, we got the stimulus check. How do we stretch this the most and make it work the most without how do we prioritize this money now in a different way than we haven't in the past, like 2-3 years that we've been on this routine of, okay, got it, pay this, buy that. Like,
that's what most people are going through right now, is understanding how to deal with the fact is they don't have income coming in.
Yeah.
They don't have like here in this country, it's like, okay, you don't have income coming in. That's number one. You are paying for inmates to get 3 meals a day and get food. Okay. When those inmates are being released, they're trying to release the amount of money they're using to feed those inmates because they're like, okay, well, this guy's not worth keeping in. This guy. Now, do I agree?
Are they releasing inmates now? Is that a thing that's happening?
Yeah, they release.
Okay, I haven't watched things.
Some I agree with don't deserve to be released. Some I don't know the particulars of all that shit. But it's a lot of things going down to like prevent that stuff because Americans are starting to realize we have a really fucked system and things can't go back to normal. Things going back to normal will just bring us in the same situation later on. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those weird, kind of thing.
I think, the times are changing, and this is going to be one of the situations that changes times. Like I said this to a lot of people, like we don't realize it now, but like years from now, our kids are going to be learning. Our kids and our kids' kids are going to be learning about this pandemic in their schools and how it changed everything. Yeah. And kind of like how we learned about World War II and stuff.
I just got a shout out from Bianca Van Dam, who's my home.
Oh, sweet. We're gonna wrap this up. I do want to say on the last thing that we
because I got a couple questions on here, and they're asking about like what do I think about the WWE releases?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about next week. We'll talk about the releases. I don't want to take 2 hours because then nobody's gonna want to listen to it for the full 2 hours. We'll answer questions, but just when we start talking, that's what happens. We keep talking. On the whole inmate thing, though, I want to say, like, I don't know what the logistics are and all of that either. But anybody that really got charged off some marijuana stuff should probably be let out.
I'm in that industry, and in all honesty, man, it breaks my I'm not a vocal stuff because I don't feel like being vocal. Yeah, I just do what I can behind the scenes on a lot of things, and I think that there are a lot of people's lives who are ruined because of BS marijuana charges that they should be industry leaders. I'm a minority partner of several individuals. So I think it's
the fact that it's legal now and everyone can do whatever they want with it. Yeah. All of the major charges where people are doing marijuana stuff plus other things, sure, keep them in there. But people that would charge just on marijuana charges and for like a little bit of marijuana, sometimes like this, some of the states have those 3 strike rules and stuff like those people should be a little bit more free.
At this point, I think, I got told everybody I'm glad I live in California. I can hide just So
I'm on the West Coast too. It's the same up here.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. This is our first episode of NFG. Yeah, and we're gonna post to your YouTube, and then
I'm gonna in the next. This will probably be up by Sunday in audio form because I'm gonna try to make it your own stream. Just NFG Radio has its own stream. So this will be the first episode of NFG Radio.
This is the first iteration of it, so we got a lot to make it better, make it worse.
And like today, we ran into some difficulties with live streaming and doing it at the same time, but we'll figure it out. Hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll be back next week, man. I have more to talk about. More quarantine NFG's opinions for all of you.
All right, Jay. Hit me up, all right?
See you, man. Talk to you later.
Thank you guys on Instagram for joining. YouTube Live, thanks for joining.
And we promise next week we'll answer more of your questions. It's just we got going and we kept going.
We got going. Rocky Johnson. Do this. You know what it is? I'll set up a Q&A thing, and whatever questions you guys have every Thursday night, I'll
filter through them, maybe.
Filter through that. That's why. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, guys. See you later.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.